Hello everyone and welcome. I thought it would be interesting to take a look back at some of the most interesting and infamous Zelda rumors from over the years. So here are the top 5 fake Zelda rumors and a few that ended up being true. We actually covered a similar list a long time ago on our Zelda podcast, the 𝐓𝐳𝐬𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫, with Nintendo Prime as a guest. If you like longer discussion videos or you're more into the behind the scenes stuff and the process of actually working on Zelda games, we have about 10 episodes featuring a lot of voice actors from Breath of the Wild and Age of Calamity, with more coming soon. So be sure to check them or any of our other episodes of our podcast out if you haven't already. If we leave out a big Zelda rumor that you remember, let us know in the comments below, and if we use it in a future video, we will be sure to give you a shout out. We will also be reading off your comments on our next episode of the 𝐓𝐳𝐬𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫. So please give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on seeing yourself featured. 1. Valley of the Flood. First is one with an incredible story that a lot of people don't know. I'm sure a lot of you already know the story of Valley of the Flood, but I've come across some new updates that no one has put together. Forget the Valley of the Flood rumors that you knew. This might blow your mind. This was a rumor a lot of people kept talking about years and years after originally being confirmed fake. Maybe because of its darker tone or the steampunk style that people are still asking Nintendo for. In 2008, Project Deluge, or Valley of the Flood, had 2 rumors and a massive amount of truth that wouldn't be revealed for well over a decade. The bad rumor stated the game was meant to take place after Twilight Princess, featuring an adult Kallen as the hero, not Link. However, the original rumor stated it was a prequel that would lead up to the events of the Flood before the Wind Waker. Since the Hero of Time is no longer in this timeline, a new hero had to rise up to stop Ganon when he tried taking over Hyrule, which led to the wish on the Triforce that caused the Great Flood. So what's the truth behind this rumor? Well, the rumor began in 2008 on IGN's forums by a random user given the name Kyle. Less than a year later, in 2009, IGN reported they seen heavy Zelda themes and equipment like the Master Sword and Hylian Shield in Retro Studios' Ideas Room, where they meet and try to come up with new ideas and concepts for games. It wouldn't be until May of 2020 that this part of the rumor would be proven true, as an artist who worked on the retro Zelda game uploaded many pieces of artwork to their online portfolio. In the concept art, we see many similarities to the rumored Project Deluge or Valley of the Flood. We have a very dark Zelda game with a steampunk-inspired world. We do not play as Link, but Sheik, since, just as the rumor said, Zelda sent Link back in time. So she, as Sheik, would need to become the hero. It was in pre-production from 2005 to 2008, being rejected the same year this Valley rumor was first posted or leaked, both happening after a meeting with Aonuma. Even the random but fake rumored art perfectly matches the dark and purple art style from the real concept artwork. Here's the crazy part. Comment below, do you think it's just a coincidence that the real cancelled game and the rumor have identical concepts for the hero, identical timeline placement after Ocarina of Time, but before Wind Waker, have identical dark themes, a more realistic steampunk art style, identical color themes, identical cancellation stories, identical time frames, and more. Interestingly enough, Nintendo would go on to say after Wind Waker 2 was cancelled, they originally had the idea to create a 3rd Hero of Time Zelda game, which would also see the return of Sheik. They would later state the Sheik character model created for that game would eventually be used for Super Smash Bros. Brawl. However, I do believe Nintendo's project was completely different than the one that Rare came up with. I just find the similarities between this rumored Zelda game and Rare's Zelda game to have way too many similarities. We have another video that goes a lot more in depth on all of these images, which you can check out in the card here. 2. Twilight Princess 3D. This one is a fast one. At one of the Zelda Symphony of the Goddess concerts, a user with evidence said he had passed someone whose street pass said they had been playing Twilight Princess 3D. At this point, we knew the 3DS could play GameCube games like Luigi's Mansion, and while not incredibly well, we also have Nintendo Switch games ported to 3DS, so while it may seem odd to have Twilight Princess on the small handheld, it was more than possible. Not long after the same person showed how they modded their 3DS to fake the image. 3. Shard of Nightmare. This is a complete edgelord name, but as E3 2014 was coming up, Zelda Wii U rumors were coming out, but one that actually stood out as possible is Zelda Shard of Nightmare. And to be honest, look how convincing these are, especially at that time. This main image looks 100% real. This looks like someone actually spent days, if not weeks, creating this model, the effects, and the area just for this one single image. The rest of these do seem fake compared to it, but for those seeing this faked gameplay screenshot and title screen, it was the closest a fake Zelda game had ever came to being believed as real. 4. Zelda Fire and Ice for 3DS. When I used to write for Zelda Dungeon, I actually covered this rumor in an article. While I didn't believe it, I did think it would have been an amazing idea. It was 2011, everyone was excited about Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time 3D. Out of nowhere, this rumor of not one, but 2 Zelda games popped up everywhere. Zelda Ice Prophecy and Zelda Fire Prophecy. I like the idea of the 2 portable Zelda games releasing at once, something fans of the Oracle games would be familiar with. What made this believable though? Well, we knew Ocarina of Time 3D was made by 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿, and Nintendo's own 2D Zelda team had supposedly been working on a new 2D Zelda since the release of Spirit Tracks. With 2D games usually being a lot smaller and faster to make than 3D Zelda games, it made sense at the time that Nintendo's handheld team could have been working on 2 different Zelda games, especially if they had another team like 𝐓𝐻𝐻𝐿 working with them to help them out, which was something they did do in Triforce Heroes, and Monolith Soft did on Breath of the Wild. In both cases, the teams worked alongside the main Zelda teams. A few days later, it was widely known as a fake. Basically, you could tell the person who made it had no idea what they were doing, writing fire in kanji and ice in katakana, making the titles inconsistent. They should have written both in one or the other. Honorable mentions. Before we get to our last fake rumor, we have a few real ones. Comment below and let us know if you want us to make a top 5 or top 10 video on crazy Zelda rumors that ended up actually being true. Not just saying this specific game is coming out soon or next year, then when 2 years pass and it doesn't happen, the same person stating the same thing again and again, just moving the release window forward as the years go by. So things more like how exact details on the Wii U, its Project Cafe nickname given during development, the second screen on the controller, it being completely backwards compatible with the Nintendo Wii, having a strong focus on retro games, online multiplayer, and it was to be cost efficient, but still more powerful than current consoles. Yeah, details that specific released a couple of weeks before the Nintendo Wii U was actually revealed. For this one true Zelda rumor, we have a lot to choose from, but we went with a recent one. A remake of Skyward Sword HD was in development by Tantalus, the same studio that, at the time, recently finished Twilight Princess HD. They would rework the controls to have motion controls optional and bring in new traditional controls with the right analog stick controlling a lot of the sword swing actions and motion controls. It would also have amiibo functionality with its own amiibo that would be a loft wing. Specific bugs and glitches would be fixed, like the item description bug. That rumor, how specific it was a lot different than simply saying Skyward Sword HD is coming sometime. It gave the game, the studio developing it, when it began development, multiple brand new features that would be added, old features that would be fixed, even the exact amiibo, and more. Smaller but similar rumors include A Link to the Past's remake, sort of, Majora's Mask 3D's remake, despite Nintendo saying it wasn't happening, just as they did with most of these to be honest, Twilight Princess HD on Wii U, a few rumors about Breath of the Wild and its DLC, a second Hyrule Warriors game, and there are a lot more that we can cover in future videos. Please, feel free to comment below to let us know which specific and correct rumors that you can remember, and as always, we will give you a shout out when we use it in a future video, so please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos with your shoutouts in them. We'll also be reading some of the comments off on our Zelda podcast, the 𝐓𝐼𝐢𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫. 5. Wind Waker remade like Twilight Princess. Many people know fans didn't really like Wind Waker's art style when it first released. This led to Wind Waker 2 being transformed into Twilight Princess. In 2005, there was an April Fool's joke that a lot of people kept believing years after. Nintendo was to completely remake the art style of Wind Waker to match the upcoming Twilight Princess. The best part, you would receive this as a pre-order bonus for Twilight Princess. What made this so believable? Both Ocarina of Time and the unreleased Master Quest were both pre-order bonuses for Wind Waker. Nintendo did change art styles because of fan feedback. Twilight Princess was made in Wind Waker's engine, and it still has a lot of the assets directly from Wind Waker hidden in the code. Same cartoony art style and everything. So perhaps fans thought since Nintendo transformed the art style but kept the same engine, they could do the same process to Wind Waker to make it also look realistic. While the image does look interesting, and I would be a fan of seeing almost any Zelda game in an alternative art style just for the experience, I'm not a huge fan of this mock-up look for the realistic Wind Waker. Thank you all so much for watching our videos. We have a few giveaways coming up soon as a way to thank those of you who have subscribed and commented. And those of you who have purchased a shirt or have supported us on Patreon are the reasons we are able to continue making videos like this. Please, don't worry if you can't become a Patreon supporter. Only do it if you can afford to. As for shirts, we will be giving some away as part of the giveaway, along with Nintendo eShop cards. The next giveaway will be at 105,000 subscribers, so almost there. We used to be sent a lot of fan art and custom designs that we would feature on videos, and we're going to bring that back. So if you have any Hylian Games Cast, Capt Bergerson, 𝐓𝐷𝐷𝐷, The Geek Apprentice, or Game Over Jesse artwork or designs that you would like to have shown off, send them to us on Twitter or Instagram, and we will promote it and you at the end of each of our videos. That's it for now. I hope you're all doing well, and have a great day.